There is a myth running underneath every rom-com, every piece of dating advice you've ever gotten, and every dating app, that somewhere out there is a person who will complete you, fix you, and make you whole. That once you meet the right person, you'll be inspired to be a better man, you'll fix your insecurities and stop playing the field. But that myth is not only wrong, but it's keeping you from the relationship that you truly want. Research on attachment and relationship psychology is showing us something completely different. That who you are when you meet someone predicts the success of the relationship more than who they are. There's a study that tracked couples over time, and what it found is that self-esteem didn't rise because they found a relationship. It was the other way around. People with higher self-esteem and confidence built good relationships. The order matters, and we're getting it the wrong way around. In this video, we'll walk you through the different bodies of evidence, from attachment theory to self-expansion, that all point to the same conclusion, that it isn't about finding the right person, but becoming it. Welcome to the YouTube channel for Catch. My name is Sam and I'm the founder here at Catch. We've worked with over 15,000 leaders globally, where we found that the trait that they all shared was a level of unshakable confidence. So on this channel, we help you to build that unshakable confidence and become the most unstoppable version of you. If you want to work with us in any way, all that information is in the description box below. Our coaching is booked up until around the end of July. So reserve your place from then onwards. And we also have a free to enter competition with prizes of up to £250, and you can find the info on that below as well. Now, this belief about finding the perfect person rather than looking internally is seductive, because it tells us that the issue isn't us, but it's men, it's women, it's dating apps that are the problem. And it enables us to romanticize the perfect relationship and outsource our happiness and our self-development to that prospect. However, there are several reasons and bodies of research that show that to attract and sustain a relationship with the type of person we want, we have to become a version of us that can sustain that relationship, and to attract the kind of partner that we're looking for. Who we may be attracted to may be based on an unhealthy upbringing or unhealthy beliefs. It's about us or the world around us that make us drawn to certain people and dynamics. Carl Jung's work on projection describes the psychological tendency to project our unintegrated qualities, whether they're positive or negative, onto our potential and romantic partners. This is often called the shadow in relationships, and it can mean that the people that we're drawn to, we are drawn to them because they have the qualities that we want to develop in ourselves, or they replicate the dynamics of our parents or our early experiences. The person we're looking for, we may not even be drawn to or be able to attract, because the reasons that we're drawn to them in the first place are not healthy ones, or because actually they're things we need to develop within ourselves. Also, if we have spent years pushing our emotions down or allowing unhealthy patterns to continue, then even if we met the right person, we wouldn't be able to create or sustain the type of relationship that we want, because the affirmation or the validation that we might get from that relationship is not going to fix the issues of a lifetime. It's like pouring into a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. It gets topped up, but it's pouring out the bottom at the same time. So we may think that once we meet the perfect partner, we'll suddenly become secure or become the type of man that we want to be, but that's going to fix the existing issues. And if the relationship ends, our confidence crumbles because it has been dependent on that relationship. Relationships also bring out insecurities and triggers that we had buried or didn't know that we have. So although it's tempting to believe that when we meet the right person, it'll all just flow and it'll all just go perfectly, actually we can find that it triggers us in new ways and forces us to face some of those shadows or develop some of those traits in the relationship, which is harder to do and puts the relationship at risk than if you address those things before. Or it prevents us getting to the level of depth of connection that we seek to get. So that's why it's critical to do the inner work and become secure and confident before getting into such a relationship. Rather than waiting for the right person, we have to become the right person to create and sustain a healthy dynamic. And there are multiple bodies of research to back this up. The first is by Errol and Orth in 2014, and this study is a longitudinal study where they tracked couples over time and the levels of self-esteem going into the relationship and throughout. What it found is that individuals' self-esteem has one of the strongest predictions of relationship satisfaction, and self-esteem didn't rise throughout the relationship. So it shows that you need to build your self-esteem prior to going into a relationship rather than the other way around. The second is self-expansion theory by Arthur and Elaine Aron. The self-expansion theory proposes that all of us as humans want to grow and develop and learn over our lifetimes. So we're drawn to partners who we believe will facilitate that growth. Their research has also shown that those who are actively engaged in expansion and self-development through learning, careers, and hobbies are not only seen as more attractive partners, but they have higher reported relationship satisfaction. Another of their studies showed that engaging in novel personal development increased levels of passion and attraction within a relationship, both for individuals and for existing couples. So working on yourself, building your confidence, building your self-esteem, not only makes you more attractive, but it improves the quality of the relationships that you're already in, or once you're in them. It makes you able to sustain that relationship. So this shows once you become who you want to be, you start to attract it. The third body of evidence, which is probably the most well known, is on attachment styles, and we did a separate video on this called Attachment Styles 101, so we'll link that down below. One of the key learnings of attachment styles is that about 50 to 60% of the population are secure in their attachment style, and they report being in more relationships for longer and having higher relationship satisfaction than those with an insecure attachment style, whether that's an avoidant or an anxious attachment style. Early research on attachment styles said that they are shaped during early experiences, so through childhood and our relationship with our caregivers. However, what is hopeful and what recent research has shown is that attachment styles can change over time. Research by Mikulinsa and Shaver has shown that for about 20 to 30% of people who are insecure in childhood, they go through a process of self-development and develop earned security where they become secure later in life. So we can develop that inner sense of security and confidence, and that will help us get into more relationships and increase relationship satisfaction and length of the relationship as well. Doing the internal work allows relationships to develop and to last. And it's harder to create that security within a relationship. And finally, Chris and Neff's research on self-compassion has shown that those with higher levels of self-compassion, which is usually linked to self-worth, report higher relationship quality. And that's because they're better at conflict resolution, being less hurtful during arguments, and showing compassion for others as well as themselves and mistakes that people make. Again, showing that the internal state that someone has and brings into a relationship is a determinant of relationship quality, more so than the partner. This was confirmed by another study by Kristen Neff in 2013, where they studied both partners within a couple, and the other person in a couple with someone with high self-compassion also reported high levels of relationship satisfaction, as well as the individual being studied. So we've looked at several bodies of evidence that it's about who you become and your state to attract the right partner, attract a healthy partner that has the qualities that you're looking for, and then create and sustain a healthy relationship with high satisfaction over time. But let's address the obvious question: does compatibility matter? Does the partner that we pick also have a factor, or is it fully on us and who we are? Of course, who we pick to be our partner and to date does have a huge impact on relationship satisfaction as well. There is extensive research that attraction, compatibility, and proximity also factor into the success of a relationship. But what this video and the research is showing is that the foundation of a healthy and a successful relationship is your own development, your own self-esteem, self-compassion, your confidence, and your ability to pick the right partner. However, one point of note for those who are avoidant watching this video, you don't need to be perfect to be worthy or deserving of a relationship and good treatment. And that's the balance to strike here. We need to have a certain level of security and confidence and self-awareness to pick the right partner and develop a healthy relationship. But we can't get stuck in an endless cycle of needing to get better or needing to be perfect before we feel worthy of a partner. And it can be an avoidance strategy and a reason to opt out of dating or relationships altogether because you don't feel ready. So don't let yourself get drawn into that belief that you have to be perfect to deserve a relationship. And we have done a video on this as well. Do I need to be fully healed to make a relationship work? So I'll link that down below as well. So I hope that that was helpful. If you have any questions or reactions, let us know down below. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing. That really helps this channel to grow. And we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.